Online business relationships are everywhere. We have friends and acquaintances, people we can bounce ideas off of. We have people who give advice. We give advice, and we give these things back as well. We have people who share their results so that we can learn from and do stuff with. People to collaborate with, partners for projects and business. Full business partners, promoters and affiliates, team members, connectors, the people who connect us to others. And I hope, if you want people to connect you, that you also are a connector. Now, this is just a short list, and certainly you can think of more that might apply to your business. So there's just many different ways we benefit by knowing people in a more meaningful way. And that doesn't mean that, these people all have to be your best friend, or that you have to put a full, we all have, you don't have to dedicate yourself to so many people. It's just being open, receptive, paying attention to people, giving them encouragement, and keeping that network, close to yourself. Some people are going to be closer and they're going to be the true bona fide friends, but it'll all vary. And, it builds slowly, and it's there before you have your network before you realize it. To me, talking about the framework I promised you, I think it's important to open doors, but for yourself, but don't force yourself in. People see through inauthenticity and self-serving approaches immediately, and they won't get you far. I mean, sometimes it'll help, and sometimes it'll work. It just means you need to slow down and let things develop naturally in most cases. Obviously, if you're trying to hire someone, you're going to get cut straight to the chase. Sometimes you'll just ask someone if you can interview them. Like, it all varies, use your judgment. But if you want to have that full, range of people who you can rely on, you do have to let it go slowly. Don't start with your, what you want out of it, and approach it that way. So I'm going to give you, this is kind of a random list, but I think it's useful. Some guidelines, take them or leave them. I don't think you'll go wrong by following them. So help first, but don't force it. So what I mean by this is that, you might see something you can do for somebody and you just go ahead and do it. Maybe it comes up again, maybe promote their product. Maybe you saw something that, be careful with this one though, like that they need to fix. But if you're a proofreader and you're trying to build a nice solid client base and telling people all the mistakes they have, it might not be the right approach. But, if you have to just make sure that people know that you can help with things. I would talk, like be more subtle, get involved in networking groups. We're going to talk about that. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but, think of how you can help someone else before you think about how they can help you. So adjust your strategy also depending on how important the person is, right? The bigger the person bigger, important, those are relative terms, but you know what I mean, influencers or someone who has a really big following or something like that, that person you're going to go way more subtle with and start slower. And unless you meet them in person, then you can have like a full-on conversation, but you're still just going to put on the brakes. You're not going to ask them for things and things like that. So, but that said, realize that all kinds of people are important to your business. So maybe you may have your eye on somebody who has this big audience. They could do so much for your business, but realize the people at the same level as you are also important, and you guys can help each other grow. People who are at, we would say, a lower level, which isn't fair, but you know what I mean? Like people who maybe aren't as successful, those are useful too. Those people can be part of your team. They have different skills, and, sometimes they just don't have it all together, but they're still valuable. So don't look down on those ideas, because you want all kinds of people in your network. So, also let connection grow. Don't blow your first impression. Like some people want to start out right away. Can you promote my product? I do this. And it depends, sometimes, if you're in a group of testosterone filled men who love money and are big hustlers, and you've got this super great offer that converts amazingly and they're going to make so much money, you might be able to lead with that guy. But it all depends. And you have to be understanding of where other people are. And I had a thought that wasn't on here, but I'll come back to it. And hello, Jack. You're my student today. I'm just going to keep going, but I'll keep an eye on the chat and stuff. So a few more helpful guidelines. Interact in a meaningful way, not just to interact. So, like if have something useful to say, or if you think, just liking something from someone or having a comment that doesn't really mean anything, you're not going to get noticed if it's someone, you're trying to get the attention of. Say something meaningful, do something useful. Also have no expectations always. If you do something for somebody, don't expect them to do it back for you, because it might not be the right time. It's just not the right fit. Like, no expectations. And also it's smart for you to also look for other people who feel the same, right? Because if you start building your network of people who have all these expectations of you, that's going to become difficult. And for that reason, you can't have expectations of others. It will come together as it should. And this is the side note I wanted to take, is the better you are in the head, the easier this is going to be. Because a lot of people do put their personal feelings into a lot of this stuff, and then they think that person's ignoring them or different things like that. You want to always be working on yourself. And you guys know, on my Design Your Dream Life with Alice Seba YouTube channel, I do have, I think the very first video I posted was about getting your mind right and like being able to connect with people, or do better for yourself so that you can connect better with other people. So definitely check that out if you have some lingering expectations and you have trouble letting go of those. Also, if you approach someone and I can't tell you how many people I'm reading that have an idea, not just a vague notion. I have so many people like, oh, I was looking at this and that's all awesome. We should do something together. It's like, what? That is somebody putting it in your lap and asking you, if you do that to people, you're asking them to come up with the idea. It doesn't mean anything. Remember, I said interact in a meaningful way. So if you don't have the idea right now, don't mention doing anything together. Wait until you have that idea. Maybe you want to interview them. Maybe you want to do something else, and understand where your relationship is at and if those are things you can ask for. Also realize that people are busy, and so first, that might be that feelings thing I was talking about. If you don't get an answer, doesn't mean people are ignoring you. And I apologize to all you who may be in my inbox, but it isn't personal. It's self-preservation, right? I can't get to everything. But what I'm really trying to say here is get to the point, which I wasn't doing, but don't make too many points, right? So you want to write something to somebody. Sometimes I'll get messages in my inbox that say, hello, Alice. If I don't know you, I'm not going to answer that. And if I do know you, I'm thinking that you're like got hacked or something. And it's a spammer trying to contact me. One time I had my former partner, Ron Douglas, messaged me and he said, hello, Alice. And I'm like, I texted him on my phone. I'm like, did you get hacked? Is that you? Or maybe he said, hello, Alice, how are you? And it wasn't the way he usually starts, but it really was him. But, you want to not start, you don't want to go that slow, but you also don't want to give them too much stuff, bombard them with all these ideas and things. Just get to the point, but not too many points. All right. And also, I think what's really important is not to burn bridges, but know when to keep your distance from people. You know, I think the people you see that are always calling other people out, they think they're doing a service, you know, to others and warning them. In some cases, you know, they are. But I think those are the people who struggle in the relationships. I mean, for me, personal relationships, business relationships, I tend not to, you know, things don't blow up when I interact with people or I work with them. Even if they go wrong, they don't blow up. I don't burn the bridges. I will back away if I need to. And that's the next point is walk away when you see red flags, and you don't have to burn your bridges at that time. But, you know, if you're starting to partner on someone with something and they're not doing their part, maybe if it's a small project, you might finish it up, but you know, you might also just walk away and say, hey, I think that my schedule it's not going to work for me. And it seems like maybe you're busy as well. And like, let's just save this for later. Because I do see like a lot of people get upset, you know, when they hire someone or they work with someone and then they feel screwed over because that person did that. But if you learn, you know, to cut your losses and walk away, things stay pretty even, and you start to see more about the people that you should be connecting with and see the red flags that are people that you maybe want to stay away from. I also mentioned it before, being a connector. Definitely, you want people to connect you to other people. Make sure that you're doing the same thing. So if you know someone who offers services and someone could use that, tell them. Or maybe you see someone who should be a guest on someone's podcast, suggest it. You know, the more you connect others, the more you're going to get connected. And don't take things personally. We brought that up. I think never, ever. People have so much going on. And especially when you're dealing with the online world, right? We have no idea what all these people are what's going on with them. And because we're talking to so many people in the end, right? Like they only have so much bandwidth. If they're not our very best friend, they don't have the time to explain or give us the insight. So never take it personally. Just realize that people are dealing with their own stuff. Thank you, Tammy. And it's okay to follow up, but don't be dense. So what I'm saying is that, you know, sometimes people will miss your message. Think of a different way to approach them. Or if you're the kind of person who is, you know, sending messages to someone's inbox, asking them to promote your product or something like that, and they don't answer, you may want to follow up once, but I think you just need a new approach. You need to get on this person's radar some other way. Like I have people who will just continue to message me. Sometimes I tell them because I am interested in what they have to offer. I can't always promote it. I say, just, you know, I apologize if I haven't answered, but I do keep sending me these reminders if you'd like to. And that's a totally different situation. But where someone's not responding to you, it doesn't make sense. And, you know, if you are, you know, but then I've also seen some very successful, very aggressive people, but I think they're connecting with the people who have that more aggressive approach, then that's might work. So like I said, this is not, you know, this doesn't have to be the rules. These are just things that work for me. Protect yourself always, you know, but realize things will go wrong. So, you know, to me, I think about like anybody who works for me, if they disappear or whatever, or they don't complete a project, it's not, I have to have my things in place or be prepared that I can pick up and figure it out. There's always a solution to these problems. In the case of business partners, you know, be careful, you know, doing something really big with somebody you don't know, go slow. And even if you do know them well, they could still take off. So always make sure that there's a way for you to recover if something doesn't go through. All right, so those were the guidelines on opening doors and not forcing yourself in. Different places you can go. I'm sure you know a lot of this, but maybe there's some ideas for you. Join networking groups, obviously on Facebook, message boards, LinkedIn, wherever there are groups that with like-minded people for yourself. And I think a lot of people want to connect often with their customers, but they forget that you should be connecting with other people running similar type of businesses as you. Those are your best, your best partners. I also personal profiles in different places. I personally love Facebook because I guess I'm an internet marketer and I sell products to internet marketers, and Facebook, I believe, is their preferred network. So I don't post business stuff on my personal profile, but I friend the people who, I've met in person, or I have not, or I know from different groups and things like that. I connect with those people personally, because being a friend first is the easiest way to get people to, connect with you and want to help you and want to do things for you. I also tend to, look at when people, request a friendship with me. If we have a lot of mutual friends, and it's that internet marketing crowd, I will accept them. I think I'm up to only accepting people with 30 or more mutual friends, because, and I don't know them, I'll do that. Less than that, I sometimes find I end up, that's when you get the person right in your inbox and bothering you. They're maybe not a real profile, or they're just spammers. So I wait until there's lots of connections. That seems to work well. And I've met a lot of people that way, because then they start appearing in your feed, and maybe they post things that resonate with you, that make you laugh or something like that. And, I love to leave comments for people. I don't just like posts. I try to leave comments, and I always have, but I really stepped it up, I think, during COVID, because I felt like people were hurting, right? And going through a difficult time. So wherever I could support them, I would try to do so. And supporting them might just be, engaging in what they want to say, not just the sad posts or things that say, or, giving them encouragement and stuff like that. All right, attend events. And now that we are in a safer part, during COVID, post-COVID, however you want to look at it, whatever it is in your head that it makes it feel good, and you're healthy and you are able, obviously not everybody can, start attending events. They could be local events, bigger internet marketing things, or for your particular industry. Get to these places, meet these people in person, because that solidifies everything. You also get to meet a whole bunch of new people. I mentioned, I don't know if anyone attended the Facebook Live, I kind of did a little kind of overview of what we've been doing here in this course, when I first started out, I still have no expectations, but I expected nothing from people. And I went to some events, and I ended up in a lot of rooms, small rooms with extremely successful people way up above me, as we might call it. And it's just because I expected nothing. I am a smart person. I have some experience. So, the things I would talk about were useful, right? But I was there to listen a lot as well, or just have fun. I'm also a fun person. So people liked having me around. So I would, I met a lot of people back then. I am not a name dropper, but and you may not even know some of these people, because they may have disappeared, or they're just not on anyone's radar now. But if you've been around for a long time, Armin Morin, Ryan Dice, who now owns Digital Marketer, he was just a little boy then. Not really, but to me he was, because he was quite young. Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels, I think, is his product. John Carlton, who is an incredible copywriter. The things I learned from him. Gary Halbert, who has passed away, also a prolific copywriter and sales guy. So I got to do a lot of this, and it was because and that was way more powerful than if they had promoted my products. And eventually, some of them did too, but that's not what I was there for. I was there to absorb and learn from these people, and learn I did. Also, follow on social media and interact, obviously, but interact meaningfully. Leave useful comments that will make them remember you, and make you remember what who you are, or what knowledge you have, and there. So, and interact on their blogs. A lot of these people still have blogs, do the same thing, and people appreciate comments there so much, right? Especially on ones that may not get a lot of traction there. So these are great ways. Like, these are the ways I got to blogs and message boards back in the day, is how we did it. And it really does, people see you and they see you saying something useful, not like, great post, that's boring. Don't even bother with stuff like that unless you're just really impressed. But and get introduced, right? Then, so when you know people, that means you can be introduced to others. Be careful with this too. Don't meet someone and oh, I want to meet that person. Make sure it's appropriate for you to ask it, and maybe have a good reason that you'd like to introduce them that will actually really benefit that person, as opposed to serving yourself. But it's all around us. The opportunities are all around us. I think, I've been told that I feel like I missed a slide, because now I'm thinking about something I haven't said, but I wanted to say earlier, that people talk about, running an online business as being lonely. I've never felt that, ever. There has been no loneliness for me, because we have all these opportunities to talk to people. And even if you're shy, and I do find it difficult. Like, when I would go to in-person events, if I don't, now it doesn't bother me so much, but that's a lot of a practice. If I didn't get into a group, I would feel so awkward, so weird. And now actually, I don't even mind just standing and watching and letting people come to me. That's kind of my style. I'm not aggressive. I am just it's just okay. But we never have to feel like we're alone, because we are not. Tammy is really being kind to me in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad this is speaking to you. And I think, the results over the decades have proven themselves. And it didn't take decades to get there, but it does amaze me when I look back now. How I said that I have this network, and if I have any problem, I need somebody on my team, I need help with something, I want to partner with someone, I can do that within my network. I'm not having to look outside of it. Yes, I'll meet other people, but it's a tremendous blessing.